Lord Friendly episode 104. We have a special guest today, the one and only Jessica Osborne. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing great. How are you?
It's been a while, but we had important business that we need to take care of. We need to talk about Fire Emblem.
Yes, because I need somebody I can talk to about Fire Emblem. And all of my friends are simultaneously playing, and we don't want to spoil each other, so it's very difficult.
Yes. Have they chosen different houses?
Yes. Yes.
Ah.
I am Blue Lions through and through. I was
Ride or die.
Yeah, ride or die Blue Lions. Dimitri is my boy. I was tempted for approximately 30 seconds the first moment I met Claude, and he was so charming. I was flustered beyond belief. And almost strayed, but I stayed true blue for Dimitri. So that's my route.
That seems to be the consensus on Twitter. I haven't seen too many Claude stands on Twitter. I see a lot of Dimitri people.
We can talk more in depth about this later, but I have noticed very specific ways to portray your love for your respective favorite house leader. And it all there's a pattern to it.
Yes. Like, I haven't played through Golden Deer, but he was definitely the one I think that I would most enjoy in real life.
Mm-hmm.
I think in, like, my first impression, like, I was like, okay, Claude, Dimitri, Edelgard, I'm going to pick the cute, like, moon-haired Targaryen girl.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to join this house. Well, it was not only that. I like Dorothea and I like Linhardt, but like a month in, I'm like, oh my god, I've Jon Snowed myself. I'm like, McQueen.
Yep.
After like, not to get too spoilery, but you know, after the story progresses, you're kind of just like, what have I gotten myself into? Claude, I want.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. See, like, the thing. Okay, here's the thing I have noticed about the respective stands of the respective house leaders.
Mm-hmm.
Edelgard, everyone is like gung-ho about their beloved Axe Empress and will follow her into the fires of hell.
Yeah.
Because she's a
Yeah,
badass.
I also was I was interested in the mythology and the lore of like the old house, you know, that this was something that was ancient and like mystical and mysterious and stuff like that. Yeah.
And then like for Claude, you have like everybody just loves Claude because he's like the fun guy. He seems like the least damaged probably.
Yes.
And you know, he is the guy you want to hang out with. And then we have the Dimitri fans, and I can speak to this with firsthand experience. We all just want to protect this poor boy from the terrible world he's in. And well, because I mean, if you look at pre and post time skip, what the fuck happened to this boy?
Oh, yes.
What has the world done to you, Dimitri?
He's very, very damaged and brooding and just I don't know. I like from a visual standpoint, he looks much sexier after the time skip.
No question. I mean, I love pre-time skip Dimitri. He's adorable and earnest and the sweetest boy, my good paladin son. But post-time skip Dimitri is like, I need to know more about this.
Yes.
Tell me more. I have subscribed to all of your issues.
Whereas Claude, he kind of just grows a couple inches and gets a chin strap beard.
Yeah,
he's the same old Claude.
I also am super not into the beard. I was like, buddy, you don't need that, actually. Could you?
Yeah,
What's that about?
It's here. I've aged. I have this chin strap beard now.
He's like, look,
I'm older.
I can grow facial hair now. Aren't you proud of me?
That's basically what it is. The design's like, okay, we Claude is still the same old guy. He's still charming. He's still like a bro, a friend, right?
Yep.
But how do we make him seem like he's older after the time? So, well, let's just give him a beard.
Yeah, he like, I don't know. I guess maybe he admired Seth's facial hair situation and like went for that because it's very similar.
I think he would have like been able to pull off like a D'Artagnan mustache kind of thing, you know, something like something French.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I don't know. Out of the post time skip designs, his is definitely my least favorite. Edelgard looks like a badass.
Yeah. She's got the Princess Leia hair going on. She's got
she definitely, like, I would stand behind her in a fight. Hell yes. She could lead me anywhere.
So you chose Blue Lions.
Yep.
You like the house. You like the students there. Has your love for the house, has that strengthened over time?
Oh my gosh. I will protect all of these children with my life. So I am playing the game on stream and only on stream. So it's all out there. My first impressions exist on the internet. I grabbed the game as a result of the E3 trailers. I previously was like, oh, another Fire Emblem game. I wasn't that into Fates, whatever. I'm not sure how they're gonna do. Saw the trailers, saw the hype, was like, oh dang. Well, now I'm invested. Bought a Switch.
Same here.
For this game, and was like, I'm really curious how this pure-looking blonde, blue-eyed boy goes to this tired eye patch, fur-clad monster. Please explain what happened, game. I want to see this journey because it sounds like my crap. And so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go Dimitri. That looks like my jam. And I didn't even pay attention to the actual students in any of the houses, like at all. I didn't meet any of them until I played the game.
Yeah, see, I think if I saw that picture, I would have been more intrigued by Blue Lions as well. Like, because my first impression, I just saw the blonde, blue-eyed, oh, this person, he's a knight, he's chivalrous, like, I get the deal, you know, I don't want to join with this crew, you know, it's just...
Like, oh, this is the token hero character, I get this.
Exactly. Had I seen that picture like you had, I might have like, yeah, Blue Lions, huh? Blue Lions, eh?
Yeah, I think it was the E3 trailer I saw, and they sort of I think this was a masterful move on the part of the marketing, to be perfectly honest, that they did show you the time skip looks of the three house leaders because it figures so deeply into the story. So you have, you know, these fresh-faced kids doing their thing, and you see what they look like before, and then you see how they are afterward, and that was the thing that sold me. I was like, I need to know how they go from that to that. What the heck is going on?
Have you played many Fire Emblem games prior to this? Because this is my first one.
Yes and no. Here's why I say that. I have a weird history with the Fire Emblem series in that I have had a crush on it from afar for literal decades. I have, like every Fire Emblem art book in existence, I have read up on the material, but I always was afraid to play them because I thought I was bad at tactical games. I wanted to love it so bad, but I was afraid to play it. So Awakening was technically my first. And I enjoyed it a lot and was like, oh, this is not as bad as I thought. That being said, Awakening is sort of considered the like filthy casual Fire Emblem entry because they got rid of permadeath at that point.
As a casual, I am offended by
that. I'm speaking from the perspective of like the OG Fire Emblem community type people that supposedly exist. There are people who are mad that Awakening exists because it got rid of permadeath. I like not having to worry about losing my units forever. I don't want to stress out about that, to be perfectly honest.
Well, in this game, you have the time travel aspect where you could just, like, if somebody dies, you just go back 2 rounds. So I had no problem with permadeath in this game.
Yeah,
just because...
yeah, I didn't know about the Divine Pulse mechanic.
Yeah.
Which apparently in the game they did previous to this, Shadows of Valentia, which is a remake of Fire Emblem Gaiden, which was like the second game. Anyway, I think they had a mechanic similar to that. I haven't actually played that one. I own it. I just never got around to it because I was busy. But they have a similar thing called like Mila's Turn Wheel that lets you, you know, backtrack a handful of turns in case you screw up tremendously.
Yeah, the one thing I was interested in is, do previous Fire Emblem games have the calendar mechanic and that kind of gameplay, like the visual novel type gameplay stuff, or is this new?
Not exactly. There is ostensibly a calendar, at least in my experience in Awakening and Fates. There was kind of a calendar in the sense that characters had birthdays. That's like a thing they've done, but it really wasn't anything other than a, hey, this character's birthday is today. Yay! Yeah. And that was pretty much it. This entry in the series has expanded the not tactical map-centric material beyond anything else in the series.
Yeah, because that's my thing. That's my jam. Because when I saw that, then it's like, oh, I want to play this game because it reminded me of the Persona series. Have you ever played Persona?
I've not played them, but I am familiar with those mechanics, and I'm not surprised that has made its way in. Because there is, in fact, I am blanking on the title. I would have to jump to the Googles. But there was essentially a game that Atlas, the Persona peoples, and Intelligent Systems, the Fire Emblem peoples, worked together on that was essentially Fire Emblem, but make it Persona. I think it was for the Wii U, and it was all about like the J-pop idol industry type of thing, and had this very Persona stuff. I suspect following from that, they probably learned a lot of lessons from each other, and Intelligent Systems is like, this is a great idea, we're gonna do that.
And it was. And the one thing that I appreciated with this game is they let you pick the gender of your character, because that's the one thing where I feel like Persona games are lacking, is that like if you want to talk to it with like players who like to be a like female protagonist, it's like they have a harder time getting into the Persona series, which is really great series, which has really great games, but they just have a harder time playing as a dude. And so I just like the fact that you had the choice here, and you could romance both genders and things like that. And so it just makes it more accessible.
Yeah, definitely. That's a thing. That's not the gender selection of your character, your avatar character, is not entirely new to Fire Emblem. They've been doing that for several entries now. This is the first one of that where they don't really let you customize your appearance at all.
That blows.
Yeah,
why'd they take that away?
Previously it was just largely based on the portrait and much smaller, less detailed models. So I'm sure CGI stuff had a lot to do with it, probably. Yeah. Cutscenes and things.
Oh, that's right, the cutscenes. That's it.
But yeah, in Awakening, you could customize the look of your avatar's portrait pretty significantly, and Fates was the same way. Shadows of Valentia did not have avatar characters, but it was a remake of a much older game anyway, so meh.
Yeah, I would have rather had no cutscenes and just had a customizable character. I just think it's more it just allows for just more diverse gameplay. I don't know, but whatever.
I just want the ability to change my costume, because I am not a fan of female Byleth's costume. I don't understand that composition. I don't understand the lacy tights. I don't understand the random white collar. Going back to Awakening, you could choose the gender, obviously. You could go male or female, but they had the exact same outfit no matter what you chose.
Yeah.
I was like, why am I wearing hot pants, a midriff top, and lacy tights? Because I'm playing female Byleth. I don't understand. I'm a mercenary. Why am I dressed like this?
Is that the armor costume that you wear to battle? Because don't they have is there like a school uniform you could wear? Is that also?
That's a DLC. You can grab that, I believe. That's the first DLC they've released, is like the school uniform thing.
Yeah.
I mean, once you've chosen a new class outside of your I think Byleth begins as a commoner. Once you choose your beginner class and onward toward your other ones, like obviously that is what you wear to battle. Thank God. Yeah. But I would love the option to just choose one of those to wear all the time instead of.
Yeah, exactly. Well, most of the time you're in the monastery, not yet. On the battlefield. So there,
So
it's like, why am I wearing hot pants?
Yeah,
I'm at church.
Yeah, they made some interesting choices with that outfit in particular, but it is what it is.
Yeah. But yes, moving on to general character discussion. Is there any characters you enjoy? Do you have a favorite?
Oh gosh.
Other than Dimitri, I guess.
Yes, Dimitri is wonderful, and every interaction with him is fantastic, both with Byleth and with the other students. Blue Lion's house in particular is like, here are all of these good kids that have lived through a war and have immense amounts of PTSD and daddy issues, because the family situation in Fargus sucks.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's like for the other houses, but that has been my experience with Blue Lions in a lot of cases. But you have all of these very good characters. And in the cases of ones who are not very good, you start to see through the supports, which is extremely a Fire Emblem thing. They maybe don't start off in a good place, but they eventually end up there through their supports with others. Or they start off in an okay place, and then you dig a little deeper in the B supports, and you find out that they are less okay than you thought they were. And there's growth that way. Which I think, like, the biggest thing with Fire Emblem for a lot of people is the support conversations that you gain by making your units fight close together in combat.
Yeah.
It's as rewarding as leveling up or, growing your class or any of those other things that you grow. The writing and the character growth and the relationship growth is also really, really core to Fire Emblem. And I think this one might have the best ones I've seen. These supports are all really, really good and cognizant of the tone of the game itself. Like, nothing gets overly silly. Like, Awakening sometimes could get overly silly. Fates could sometimes get overly silly, despite, like, really terrible things happening around you.
Yeah.
This never gets too out of tone for the overall universe.
Yeah, I think the portrayals are very realistic, and like I mean, a lot of these characters are damaged in some way, and the way they've shown that, and the way they show how the other characters support them and guide them through those issues, and the growth throughout the story, I think it's really well done. I love looking at the support scenes. I probably, from a gameplay perspective, messed up by just like watching them right away instead of waiting. The best way to handle it is to teach them first and let their morale go down, and then do the support stuff, and then their morale goes back up, or motivation goes back up.
Yeah, I usually just like have alternated a bit between each, but I'll typically end up building up a chunk of supports after grinding in battles for a while. And then I'll just be like, we've sat there on stream for like an hour through support conversations because we have so many to get through.
Grinding makes the game super easy.
It super does. Because I'm wildly over-leveled at this point, but I don't care.
Especially like the fact that you can buy gifts, and then if you grind, you get a bunch of gold, and you could spam characters with gifts and get like high support that way.
Oh yeah, heck yeah! That's how I've intentionally and somewhat unintentionally began to recruit characters.
Yeah, at some point I stopped even caring if they even liked the gift.
You're just like, here. Everybody likes owl feathers. Here, take it.
Yeah. You want this bucket here? just take it. There's a water can or something. There's like
a watering can. Yeah.
There's like a watering can. There's like a fishing float or something like that.
Yep.
That I just you know what? Here, forget it. I'm not even gonna look in this list for something you like. Just take this. Just get your 25 points of motivation. I got 4 more. I got that I can give you.
You're like, here. I bought every color for you.
Yes.
Yeah,
at first I was trying to figure out what they like, and I get, for the most part, just based on the personalities, like the religious people like the goddess statues and stuff like that. The ones who like sweets, like the candy or the armored teddy bear.
Yeah,
and like connecting that to like tea time and stuff like that. You get a sort of like an idea just by being with them and watching them and knowing them, what their likes are. But it's actually a good thing that they're so like 3-dimensional in a way that the dialogue choices that they're kind of tricky. It's not black and white.
Yeah, like that is the thing. I really love how each of these various ways to gain support, as my cat yells, each of these various ways to gain support leans on the other ways. So like you can't just do tea time to learn about a character. You can't just fling gifts like willy-nilly. I mean, technically you can, but it's not as enriching.
Yeah.
And all of these different things, you get a clearer picture of the character, what they actually like. And like, maybe a little spoilery, but like Sylvain is one of my favorite characters right now because of how shockingly deep he turns out to be.
Oh, really? Because he seems very shallow up front.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Oh, he's talking about the ladies. And
that's the thing, though. Like, that entire aspect of his personality is not necessarily untrue.
But it's just a layer on top of something else below.
Yes, it is.
It's all a setup.
It is a giant facade on top of something else. And there's visually, you technically get it if you look at him in his class changes. Like, all of his armor examples are black. This boy is like an edgelord under a trash lord's facade.
I've been fooled.
Yes.
Hoodwinked. Bamboozled.
Yes.
Led astray, all those things.
Yeah, I do love that they pull in very specific things about characters. He's my example for this again, but like, so each character has things that like they want you to be good at, skill wise and stat wise, in addition to having like supports before they will join your house, since you can recruit them, of course, as part of the game.
Right.
Sylvain doesn't give a crap if you are playing female Byleth. He will just join you. Like, straight up, you can recruit him immediately if you're not in Blue Lions.
That's amazing.
If you're playing female Byleth, he's like, I want to join your house. What's up?
That is amazing.
Like that. Wait, but that is such a tiny, amazing detail.
Yeah.
I love that they've put that much care into weaving the mechanics and the character personalities.
I wonder if you had an inventory full of meat, if you could recruit Raphael right away.
Just like lead him along, like, come on, come on, boy, come on.
Because that guy, ever since I started Golden Deer, that guy is my favorite now.
I've heard a lot of things about the immense good boy energy that he brings to the table.
I haven't gotten too deep into it, but the first support, he talks about like how he wants to like maybe learn a little bit about like book learning and studying. I'm like, aww. I'm all in. Let's do this. I'm gonna turn you into the greatest mage in the land. So I started putting all my stats into faith and reason, and we're gonna work it. It doesn't get like it's a weakness of him. It doesn't like improve at all. Like every time you fucking teach him, but we're gonna get there. We're gonna get him to S class. He's gonna be a full blown mage by the time we're done.
Muscle wizard casts fist. That's what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, there's this one scene that I love, like when you're trying to figure out which part of the monastery they're gonna attack, and he's like adamant it's the dining hall.
Yes, he's like, they're gonna take all the food.
Yeah.
So your first playthrough was Golden Deer, right?
No, it was actually, like I told you, I went for
Black
the
Eagles.
Targaryen. I was straight Jon Snow in my first playthrough, and you don't want to be spoiled at all, right? So
yeah, I'm trying to avoid.
Yeah, we'll not get into that.
And unfortunately, I'm around like chapter 7 or so. I'm playing more tonight. I must.
But the one thing that's non-spoiler I could say is very, very short. So that's why I think I finished one route before you did. Mm-hmm. It supposedly, I don't know how much shorter it is, but like what I've read on the internet, supposedly, I mean, it seemed long to me.
Interesting. I've heard each route clocks around like 80 hours or something like that.
Okay, I've clocked in about 50.
Okay.
So that's probably the difference. And I thought it was long. I didn't realize it was shorter when I played it. But supposedly it's. But in any case, I was satisfied with it. I don't think you get much of a full picture of what's really going on by playing the Black Eagle route. I think it's more of a supportive route. Like, it's that you need to play the other deeper, longer routes to sort of understand the lore better. But the Black Eagle is something that you get the other perspective, you know what I mean? It's like, you know the story, and then it's something you play to get the other perspective. I don't know if I would recommend playing that first.
Yeah, I know so many people have played that one first, and they've been watching my stream.
Yeah, because we're all thirsty dudes. That's the thing.
Well, it's fine. Thirsty dudes and ladies. I have many friends are all about marrying Edelgard as female Byleth, and I'm here for it. Edelgard deserves a wife. I'm going on record saying that.
And you can save. That's the thing. You
can do it. It's a thing you can do.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the varying relationship things you can do in Fire Emblem later, I think. But I know a lot of folks who have played through and completed the Black Eagle route or are further along than I am in it. And some of them that have finished it have been sitting in my streams watching Blue Lion stuff. And we have uncovered things that, like, apparently they give you info in the Black Eagle route that's just flat out not correct, which is really fascinating. Like, I love that they give you these different sides of the whole story. And like some of the info I had dropped in my stream last night, I literally had people in chat freaking out because they had finished the Black Eagle route, and apparently whatever happened in that, this changed their perspective on what took place so immensely that they were like, I need to go lie down. And I was like, I don't understand what's going on, but I hope you're okay.
Yeah, definitely a Jon Snow McQueen in your way to the end in that route.
So yeah, I'm really fascinated to see how. I think Black Eagles is going to be my second route, and Golden Deer will be last, because I've heard Golden Deer is kind of the route that sort of connects a lot of the dots and is like the giant air quotes lore route that fills in a lot of gaps that open up through the play of the Blue Lions and the Black Eagles.
Yeah, and I think Black Eagle and Blue Lions sort of complement each other in a way, just because the close relation of Edelgard and Dimitri. So
yep, yeah, that's
interesting. It's pronounced Edelgard in.
Yes.
in the English version? Because I've been playing with Japanese voiceovers, so
see,
it's like
yes.
Edelgard in Japanese.
Yeah, I've been playing it in English. I also highly...
Is it really doo-doo? Is it?
It's doo-doo.
Okay.
Also, I fully support following all of the English voice actors on Twitter because you will get a level of banter that is a delight.
Oh, nice. They do it in character, is what you're saying.
No, not really, but they practically could be their character. Joe Zija, the voice of Claude, is a meme lord like no other. And people are very fond of him. Chris Hackney, who voices Dimitri, is a pleasant but slightly snarky individual and banters well with Joe. And it's just really fun to watch. But yeah, I've been playing it in English. My reasoning, of course, is being a voice actor myself. I like to dissect performances in English as much as possible and kind of pick it apart a little bit and identify choices they made. It's just an additional level of study for me. But the English track has been really good. I believe
that's good to hear. Yeah,
I think Cup of Tea Productions is responsible for it, and I read somewhere Patrick Seitz was the voice director, and he's aces. So I believe it's been a good job. There were a few performances or choices that I was kind of like, I don't know if I would have done that, but okay, sure, I'll get behind it.
Yeah, and to be fair, on the Japanese side, there are times when certain tropes or personalities that, like the hikikomori, like the Bernadette character, I'm sure is much more palatable in the English version, whereas in the Japanese version, there's just constant high-pitched screams, and it's just like...
Yeah, no, she's Bernadetta in English is voiced by Erica Mendez, and she does a really good job. She's very she's cute without being like shrieky or like that just indistinguishable Japanese high pitched voice. And there's nuance in her performance that I really like.
Nice. Yeah, I think it just depends on the character. There's some characters that are just gonna be the same both ways. Like I'm sure Felix is the same dark like Sasuke character in both
Felix
sides.
in English is voiced by Lucian Dodge, who is really good at just being a jerk. Felix is just a jerk, and I love him so much for it. He is easily one of my favorites, even though he's just... all of his supports are basically just like, screw you, I hate you.
Nice.
I guess you're okay. Also, do you want a sword fight, Professor?
That's his way of expressing love. It's just, it's
basically
different words for the same emotion.
Basically, he hates everyone equally, except for, I think, Annette. He tries to be nice to, and she can't handle it. I don't know. It's an interesting dynamic I want to see more of.
What happens when you take Felix to tea?
I haven't done that yet. I should do that, though. I assume if we talk to him about swords and fighting and more swords, it'll probably go well. I usually just let him take part in the training tournaments in the training hall, and he wrecks everything all the time. So I assume that makes him happy.
Yeah. Who is the one character, either tea time or just dialogue or just in general, that you just can't figure out? That it's like you can't get the motivation boost.
I haven't done tea time a lot. I've only done it a couple of times, and I think of the people I've taken to tea, it's been like Didu, Ash, Dimitri rejected me, and I was sad about it for like a week. The RNG is the thing. And I've taken Linhart a couple of times because he was my first recruit from another house, so I took him to tea to try and like boost the support.
Oh yeah, he's my favorite of the non-binary characters. I think Linhart is. I
love him. He's so good.
Yeah, the fact that he loves sleep is something we have in common.
Yeah, I identify hardcore with his terrible sleeping schedule. And the hyperfixation tendencies.
Yeah.
I didn't do very well with him either time. Like, I was just okay. But he's a little trickier to figure out, I think, because some of his likes outside of, taking naps are not what you'd expect them to be.
Yeah.
To do is easy. You just talk about Dimitri the whole time, basically.
Oh yeah, the things he does for, I don't know if it's love, but it's something.
It is intense Lord Liege devotion, and it's actually really good and sad. It's really tragic anyway. But yeah, The tea time it's a mechanic. I appreciate that it exists. I'm just so bad at it that I don't engage in it that often.
Yeah. Well, the advantage of it is just to get the extra charm boost, right?
Yeah.
You get 1 charm each, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, like, what's the term? I keep messing up. Is it motivation?
Yeah.
Is it motivation?
Yeah, their motivation
otherwise,
will increase and you gain it's
support.
It's a really good way to build support.
Yeah. Support, there are other ways, like battle, gifts. I don't think support is ever really a problem. It's just because, again, it's a calendar thing where you have to kind of pick and choose. This is what I love about it. You have to kind of pick and choose and decide what's the best thing to do. And from a technical standpoint, I think the boost to support and I think the boost to motivation aren't really worth it. There's better ways of doing it. You take 2 people to lunch, you get 2 people their motivation maxed, right?
Exactly. And sometimes in those
gifts
cases,
don't take time.
Yeah, the gifts are like, as long as you've got the money to cop the gifts, do it. There's also
and battle doesn't take time.
Yeah, there's also the lost items. That like if you take the time to run around the monastery each month, and grab the little blue sparklies. Where people were standing the previous month, you can usually find lost items, and giving those back to them increases support as well, so it's worth doing.
I didn't know that it was where you were standing previously. That is an amazing.
Yeah, like if you remember where the character was the last month, and the blue sparkle you pick up there, it probably belonged to that character.
So basically, Bernadette's all her lost items are just like sitting
around her room. Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty much. But yeah, so like the tea time is just very difficult. It does have, I guess, I've gotten a perfect tea time literally once ever, I think, and it was with Ash because I know that good boy so well. You like, if you do perfect at tea time, you like can examine them.
Yeah.
Which that's the other thing about the tea time. I'm kind of like, I feel weird. I feel real weird when that happened. I was like, what am I don't, is this okay? I'm their teacher.
Yeah, it's super uncomfortable. The thing is that there's a reason for doing it. You can get extra dialogue.
Yeah, that's what like.
There's like 2 spots. That's the kind of annoying thing. It's like you can actually, but toward the end, I just skipped that part because I figured, the dialogue that they say isn't really all that important, or it's pretty facile. It's just meaningless commentary. So at that point, I was like, okay, I don't have to do this stary thing. There's no benefit to it other than me being creeped out. So
yeah, exactly, that was the thing. I was like, I just really legit felt uncomfortable with it. I was like, this is really creepy. I feel creepy.
Yeah, it just makes you think about, okay, who's the intended audience for this? It just makes you sad about the gaming industry in general. So.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, oh, this is for the people that want to stare at their waifu. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I figured out though, like tea time is just something that it's not worth it unless I needed a charm boost. But then like, what do you really need charm for in the game? I'm not exactly sure. But
charm is useful for the dancer class. And I think if I recall correctly what I've heard, I've not gotten there yet, but to get the dancer class, like you need to have high enough charm to beat the thing that happens that gets you that class. So it's probably useful in that respect, but outside of that, I'm not really sure.
Yeah. It would be different if there was some kind of just advantage from a technical side that you would kind of force to do these things. You're forced to stare because it boosted your stats, and you're like, oh fuck, you do this creepy thing. But it's not because I'm a creep. It's because I really need this stat boost for the next battle.
It's like, to me, it's definitely, it feels like it's probably inspired by or adapted from the My Room thing that they did in Fire Emblem Fates. Which got, from what I understand, it got a bit censored in English because in Japanese it was like a skinship thing where like you like have them in your room and you pet them and you get like an up close CG thing of them just hanging out, and I don't know, it was weird. It was weird and fan servicey in ways I don't like.
And it makes no sense. Like, how is staring at somebody's tits gonna help you fight like a monster?
I don't
help
know.
you fight a dragon or something. It's just it's not.
It don't make any sense to me. But like the tea time thing where you have a chance to, I don't know, slightly ogle your students after you've had a nice tea conversation is like the slightly less weird and creepy version of that. But it's still creepy and weird.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And like speaking of creepy and weird, there is like they're conscious of this because there is a student, Lorenz. I've just done his C support, and he's a little creepy. Like he's hitting on the women. He doesn't understand why.
Oh
like,
my God.
Women are not all over him, and it's just like he's a little bit rapey. Yeah,
like knowing Fire Emblem doing the way it does, I assume he's going to grow out of that and reveal himself to be less of a terrible human being. But I did get that C support,
hopefully.
and I was like,
oh
man, you're literally like every guy that everyone screams about on Twitter. You're the my dude. You do not like you're the guy that tries to talk to the girl with her headphones in person. I hate you right now.
And you know the worst part for me is like right before that I had a class and I had him and Marianne work together on a horse thing.
Poor Marianne.
And I was like, oh my God, I did not realize that I just put you together with this creeper. And I'm like, oh God.
You're like, I'm sorry, dear. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So it was bad because it was like just an unfortunate coincidence because I didn't know that about him at the time. And then all of a sudden like, oh, whoops.
Yeah. Like he comes off initially like at very first blush as just the foppish kind of character. Then you get that C support and you're like, yo, dude, you need to not be everything you are right now.
Yeah. So hopefully he does grow out of it, but it is kind of weird how they could be conscious of this and yet sort of reinforce those same traits in their protagonist by allowing them to do certain behavior that is just as creepy, if not worse. And
it gets like there's also on some level, obviously, since in Fire Emblem you can do the coveted S support, the romance. It gets like the student-teacher dynamic is a little inherently problematic. I guess the time skip sort of can address that, but it's still a little questionable, especially since they call you professor basically forever.
Yeah.
To get by, using a protagonist name since you can change your name.
Yeah, exactly. It's just it's something that's common in Japanese games. In Persona 5, you can actually romance the teacher as a student. So it is.
Well, I mean,
it is bad.
it is a trope. For good or ill. Because this doesn't feel so like a high school setting per se, even though a lot of these kids are ostensibly teenagers when you begin the game. It doesn't personally put me off that much.
Well, plus your character is roughly the same age. I don't know, visually, right? Presumably. Yeah, there's a question mark there, but there's many times they say, hey, you're the teacher, but you're also the same age as me. Mm-hmm. Wow, that's cool. Mm-hmm. Let me just restate that again. Mm-hmm. You're the same age as me, so when we have tea time, it's going to be fine.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it is what it is, and so be it. Japan does. Japanese anime and related properties are going to do what they do, and they have their tropes, and this is one of them. Although on the topic of the romance, this is not the first Fire Emblem game, but it is one of the only ones that allows you to have same-gender romances.
Nice.
I think Fates was the other one, and it was not amazing because you basically had literally one women loving women option and one man loving man option, and that was it. This is not much better. You ostensibly have but one option if you are playing male Byleth. Linhardt's your only option. Realistically, there are other supports with two other characters, but they are extremely like no homo. And they're both like some of the older faculty people. So it's like, okay. So that's a little unfortunate. The selection you get as female Byleth, if you choose to romance another woman in the cast, your options are much more open. I don't remember all of them off the top of my head, but like Edelgard, for instance, is an option.
Nice.
I think maybe Dorothea and a few others. But yeah, it's improved from past iterations. It still has a ways to go, but that's not surprising because JRPGs are a little behind the curve on that sort of thing.
It's progress, though, so that's always good.
Yeah, exactly. It is much better than what we would have gotten maybe even 2 or 3 years ago.
Exactly. Yeah, and outside of just the romance stuff, I just the game itself and the story is really engaging. Like the lore, the fact that you go to the library, read up books about like the different houses and stuff. It really lends itself to multiple playthroughs and just seeing things from different angles. So
yeah,
I'm like really looking forward to playing all the routes. It's just
they really encourage like the world building in this is so vast, but it's also so tightly done that you want to learn more. The more you learn, the more you want to know. Which is really great and makes for an extremely addictive game.
How hard is it going to be, though, to play those other routes and know that you have to fight your friends and your dearly beloved Dimitri? How are you going to handle that?
I'm going to die, that's how. Yeah, that is the thing. Like, I know a lot of folks have just like on their first playthrough kind of just basically recruited everyone from every house and they're like, haha, I have everybody. I'm very intentionally not doing that because I assume Fire Emblem's gonna Fire Emblem and I'm gonna have to fight all of my friends that I didn't recruit, and I want to see how that plays out. Because I'm cold and merciless and I like drama.
Not only that, but there's also the head of each house and the doo-doo, the right-hand man or the right-hand woman that are not recruitable, and those are always going to be enemies, frenemies.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's going to be suck. That's going to suck. It's going to be hard.
Yeah, because each house leader sort of has their right-hand person. Although, weirdly, if you play the Blue Lions route, you can recruit Hilda.
Oh.
After a certain point. You are able to recruit her.
That's interesting.
Apparently that is not possible in Black Eagles. Obviously there is literally nothing on this green earth you can do to take Dedue away from Dimitri, and that seems to be the case with Hubert and Edelgard as well.
Yes. Yeah, but that's interesting. And just that little tidbit tells you something more about the character, you know, so it's very, very deep.
Yeah,
or dense.
They've done that. I've said it before already, but basically the way they weave the little elements of mechanics into the specific characters and how how their personality or situation is reflected in the mechanics is unlike anything I've seen in other games. Is it the ludonarrative dissonance, I think is the word?
I don't know. No idea.
Yeah, like where the mechanics and the narrative like don't always add up, or like they sort of directly clash. There's a lot less of that here.
Yeah.
It's really incredible.
Yeah. I mean, it literally boosts support when you have people fighting together. It's pretty cool how just that little gameplay aspect translates to the narrative beats and
It also
when you're in the monastery.
It also forces you to make some very specific decisions when you are on the battlefield of like, if you are specifically trying to get a certain pair of characters to have supports, you like it changes your tactics.
Exactly.
Because you like have to figure out, okay, how can I get these two to stay next to each other on the field? Is that going to be subpar or not, et cetera, et cetera. It's just a layer of choices.
Yeah. I think for a while I just had like this, like one of those Spartan formations. I don't know what they're called, where they're all just huddled together, just like a mass clump, and you're just like turtling your way forward.
That's
one step at a time, so everybody can get supports from each other. It's just
that's very early Fire Emblem. That's what I was doing early on too. Over time, you start to have to spread out because the fields just get much bigger. But it's very. I definitely have like framed my tactics around who to keep together for supports. It's weird, but I've had to do it.
Yeah, and there's actually like stat boosts that characters get depending on like if a certain people are like or a certain person is next to them or whatnot. It's just it's pretty dense, and so I recommend if people haven't played it, buy a Switch because most people don't have Switches. And play it.
2019 is shaping up to be the year of the Switch. Going into 2020, there's a lot of good stuff coming out for this little system.
And it's portable, so that's another benefit. So you can take it on the road, take it to the coffee house or whatever.
Yeah, that is one thing with Fire Emblem. I mostly play it connected up and docked and use my monitor and whatnot because streaming. But I have played it handheld a little bit. If I had one criticism, it is that the UI is not big enough. When you play it on handheld, like that font is tiny.
Oh.
It is hard to read. I don't know why they didn't like maybe optimize it for and it seems to be a problem with the English version, because I've seen screenshots of the Japanese and the font seems to be considerably bigger. For whatever reason in the English version it's real tiny. Like I have to squint and my eyes are not bad.
Yeah. It's probably because of the way the language is written. Like Japanese, you can spam a lot of kanji, a lot of characters that you can say more with less symbols.
Yeah,
I guess.
exactly. It's more dense, like informationally dense compared to English.
Exactly. So with English, it's probably just that they had to like shrink it to make it fit, and so that's unfortunate because it really messes up the portability aspect that I was just kind of touting a second ago.
Like, I mean, you can still play it, but it makes it maybe a little bit more mentally taxing, I think, for long stretches of gameplay.
Well, it's a game where you have to read a lot, so I don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
So
but that
put it on your TV or your computer, play it that way.
Hook it up to some kind of a monitor and you'll be fine.
All right, is there anything else you want to add about this game?
I think we've covered all the good stuff. What is your favorite person in the?
I don't know. I don't know if I have one yet. I mean, I think just based on my personality, Claude is going to be that guy. But right now, me and Raphael, we're bros. I'm hooking him up. I'm training him.
You're teaching him that magic.
We got the montage going on, the music. It's just he's book learning. So right now, I don't really have a favorite. I like, from my first playthrough, is probably Dorothea and Linhardt.
Yep.
Those are my babies.
Yep. So are you, I have to ask, with Raphael, the grand mage, are you ultimately aiming to take him in the route of like a bishop, or are you going to go dark mage Raphael?
Well, I think his faith doesn't have like a double red arrow. It doesn't have the double weakness. So I want
You want
challenge
Pope
him.
Raphael?
No, that's the easy route.
Oh.
I think his healing comes more natural to him. I want to make him a dark mage because it's harder. It's the thing he sucks at. It's his weakness. So.
Oh my gosh. I need you. Let me know how that shakes out. I'm real curious.
But ultimately, he's gonna be both. He's gonna be able to wield fire and ice and healing and destruction. He's gonna have that power. He's gonna be the wisest wizard in all the land. He's basically gonna be Dumbledore. People are gonna come to the school. I forget what it's called, the monastery.
Garrick
and
Mont, yes.
Yes, thank you. They're gonna come there, and he's gonna be their Dumbledore. He's just going to introduce everybody. He's going to give everybody a piece of meat, let it chew on it for a second as they train their minds, learn the ways of magic.
I am down for this future in Fodlan.
All right, so I'm really excited about that. Hopefully his supports don't send me in another direction where I regret my decision like I did previously with Edelgard.
You never know. We'll see.
All right. Well, it was great having you on. It was great catching up.
Yes, thank you. Yes. It's so good to just yell incessantly about this brilliant game.
Yes. I love it so much. It's amazing. So play it.
Yes, play it.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.